Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's your reluctant gringo back again with another episode of Late Night with the Gringo. That's right. So it is, it's late. It's late. It's a dark night. It's a cold night, and I'm here with my son. How you doing, buddy?
It's dark outside. You're right.
It is
late.
quite dark outside.
Quite dark. They went by quickly today.
Yeah,
it really did.
Too. It really.
I got up early. I felt like I did nothing almost.
Oh, your mother woke me up so early. But anyways, that's why I look like this. Well, that I'm old. But man, 2 days has been a lot of news to get to. There's so much news. Like we're not going to be able to get to everything that I would love to talk about. Like literally before you got up here, I'm like going through all the stories. I got like 15 tabs open. I'm like, no, we're not going to be able to talk about that. We're not going to be able to talk about that one. We're not going to. There's some really important stuff we're going to talk about. Of course, the thumbnail, the one we're going to hit off with right away is the TikTok ban or the probable TikTok ban. But look, I'm not on TikTok, and You're not on TikTok.
No.
Okay. I don't care what social media you're on. That's the thing.
You do care.
Well,
no,
I kind of care. Well, when you were younger, like I cared, but like
yeah.
when you got to be a teenager and like now that I could care less with it. Your mother cares.
Granted, I didn't really use social media growing up. I only got social media when I went to university because people in Europe are a little weird with giving out their phone numbers for messages.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's very personal. I'm like, what?
Oh, okay. All right. I guess
I kind of understand it.
All right.
I get
Europeans?
social, but I don't get it because social media you post your entire life. I was like, is that more personal?
Yeah, I would think that would be more personal. And
So
I give out my phone number, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have to answer your phone call if I don't want to.
Yeah, you can text me,
but I can't not see your post or like your DM or whatever you.
Right.
So and but yeah, so we got TikTok on the docket. That's definitely where we're going to start out. Of course, we're going to get back to California and the wildfires and what's going on there. Some interesting stuff. It's just mind-blowingly just getting worse and worse. And apparently Donald Trump, he's not even president yet, but apparently he's stopping wars. And we'll get to that too, because it's just amazing what happened today and what got announced today. And Biden's reaction. And then also, I would love to talk about Pete Hegseth, our new Secretary of Defense, or who should be our new Secretary of Defense. And then I was watching Pam Bondi, Trump's nominee for Attorney General, go one-on-one with the Judiciary Committee and Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, I can't believe he's a senator, but we'll get to him too. And then some other entertainment news. There's plenty of entertainment news. Did you know that Daredevil Born Again dropped the trailer today?
I thought you watched it. I was going to tell you about it.
I did. It looked awesome.
It looks cool.
It looks so freaking cool. I can't wait for it.
So much happened today already. Actually, like an hour ago.
The new,
from now.
Yeah. The new Supergirl movie started filming today.
Yeah.
So we got that. You know?
Biden just ended his address today.
Yeah, he's giving his farewell. Listen,
I think it's already over.
I don't want to listen. I don't need to listen to any more lies. He's trying to take credit for everything. It's the greatest economy and what it is, and it's not. Right? I even erased the story. I said I was going to talk about this story. Talk about inflation in December, how it went up, even worse than what we thought. Eggs 18%. I just erased it. I said, you know what? I just don't want to do it. Right? Just don't want to do it. So let's start out with TikTok. And look, I guess there's two ways to see this. And I've seen a lot of reaction about TikTok online and things like that. And, is it free speech? Is it, it went to the U.S. Supreme Court. They argued, the U.S. Supreme Court still has a decision to make. Whether they hand one down before Sunday, who knows, right?
Right.
But, some people say it's an issue of free speech, which I disagree with because it's not free speech. People misunderstand what free speech really is, I think. And they think free speech it just goes with everything, and it doesn't, right? I wish it did, but it doesn't. And it's just the reality of the situation. And then I look at these same people who are complaining about free speech and the TikTok ban. I'm like, where were you when they were banning the New York Post and where they were shutting off Donald Trump's Twitter account? And they were, you know what I mean? Where were these same people were probably like, good, And so I don't know. To me, it's like, it is what it is. Let's get to the article here. Let me transition out of here and get here. Boom, boom, boom. But you can see, literally, if you look at all the tabs that are open on my browser, it's like, I truly am an old man. TikTok is considering a total shutdown in the United States Sunday if the ban moves forward. The platform is exploring several potential options for its future, a person with knowledge of the discussion said. Now, there's a lot of rumors that Elon's going to buy this thing. I don't think he's going to buy it.
There was actually, speaking of, not rumors, but didn't Kevin O'Leary say he had a group?
Kevin O'Leary and his group, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, Canadian businessman, he's got a group. They claim to be the only actual business group that has tendered a real offer to the owners of TikTok and to the Chinese government. I don't think it's for sale. I don't think TikTok's for sale.
No.
And TikTok keeps saying it's not for sale. So I don't know. So here we go. TikTok is, first of all, Elon can't buy TikTok.
These are, yeah, it'd be a monopoly.
He already owns monopoly. It would never get past the regulatory boards, whether he's Trump's friend or not. It would not get past it. It would just.
Plus, good guy. I don't want nobody owning that much.
No.
Social media or media, even if they're good and they have good intentions. Sorry. Good intentions go away real quickly in this world.
They do. All right, so TikTok is preparing to potentially make the app unavailable to its 170 million American users on Sunday. Dude, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. I mean, that's a lot of people who use it for business.
Right.
I mean, I know
a ton of businesses rely on it.
Yeah.
Some of them have memes around it, a culture.
I've been nervous to get on TikTok because I realize this Chinese government and they, the whole issue of the national security issue is that the Chinese government could have access to your information and. But then again, everybody already has our information at this point. If you don't have my information by this point, if you're somebody out there, I mean, Meta has it. I mean, Meta's got to have it. Google, got to have it. YouTube's got to have it. The U.S. government's got to have it. I mean, the Patriot Act, they were sucking up every. I mean, that's what Snowden blew the whistle on. The telecommunications companies were in cahoots with the government to cull and gather every email, every phone call, every text message that you sent out. They would and they're still probably doing it now. So this idea that, the Chinese government is going to get your information. Okay. No offense if they have my information. I don't know. They probably look at it and go, who the hell is this guy? Who's this loser? Like, we can't do anything with him. The other thing is the content, right? They think that the Chinese government will start making content that'll push us towards more of a hate America, right? Look, there's half the country, I shouldn't say half the country. There's a good chunk of the country out there, a good chunk of American citizens out there that don't like America. We've seen that all the time. We see it all the time. They're not happy. They're not proud. This is one of I can't remember a time where the country was so down on itself. I grew up in the Reagan years, man. Rambo and Stallone, yay, America, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, all that, right? Hulk Hogan, the great American hero, right? Everything was red, white, and blue. America, the 80s, power and strength and everything.
Granted, it was the Cold War.
Yeah, but we won the Cold War, so that was the cool thing, right?
At the end, yeah.
So, American might, American military, American technology, American, the shining light, the shining city on the hill, as Reagan would say. And, you see, go through the 90s. I love the 90s, but that's where a lot of pessimism started to grow with Generation X. And now you got a lot with your generation, the generation either after you, before you. I don't know. Are you a millennial? Are you Gen Z? What the hell are you?
I'm Gen Z.
You're Gen Z. So you're not a millennial.
No.
Are you millennials before you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So millennials and Gen Z are definitely the ones that kind of took that pessimism and kind of ran with it. And
yes,
I'm like, okay. And I'm not saying there's this stuff to be pessimistic about, right? But outright hatred for the country. So they're afraid that China's going to really kind of exploit that. I don't know. There's so many ways to look at this. And here's the thing. And you know what? I'm going to ask you to do me a favor.
Yes.
I would like you to bring up the First Amendment. The exact First Amendment. Because people say this is an issue of free speech. That if we ban TikTok, we're banning free speech.
Do you care where I get it? I do have the Constitution downloaded.
Yes, I would like it from the Constitution.
Of course, where else can it go?
From the actual Constitution, not like someone's interpretation of the Constitution.
No. See if I still have it here in books. It should be. Library.
By the way, if you haven't read the Constitution, it's not that long. Read the Constitution. You should know your rights.
It's helpful.
Right? It's kind of important. It's kind of important, like, search and seizure, all that, fair trial, cruel and unusual punishment. You should be aware of all these things, not just wait on a lawyer to tell you.
Okay, so here's the First Amendment. Amendment 1, freedom of religion, press, and expression.
Okay.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peace. I think that's a peaceably?
Peaceably, yeah.
Peaceably. I've never seen that word before. Even though I've read this a couple times. I always stumble there. Peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Okay, so we got a lot going on there. We got protests, right to assemble, right to the freedom of press, freedom of religion,
freedom of expression.
Freedom of expression, right? Congress shall pass no law, right? But is this law that they pass? Here's where the justices got really wonky on it, especially the conservative leaning ones. Does this law limit the free speech of Americans? Or does this law limit a foreign company?
Right.
Right? And so there's the rub.
The expression part is left too vague.
Yeah, it's way too vague.
And I thought it was purpose, because you're supposed to be able to kind of... I think they thought they were more hopeful for us.
I think the Founding Fathers were way more hopeful. I mean, way more when they wrote that. They had a lot of hope.
Amendment 2 is right to bear arms.
Yeah, well,
a lot of hope there.
There's a reason for that, right? So that's the rub, right? Is Congress passing a law that is limiting the free speech of Americans and American citizens, or is Congress passing a law that is punishing and protecting Americans from a foreign influence, a foreign company, a foreign government?
Right.
So I mean,
you can argue.
That is such a fine line.
You can argue two ways. You can argue one, by banning TikTok, you are in a way violating the rights of expression.
Okay.
In this terms, right? Because it's not the press, even though there is the press on TikTok. So does that count? They do spread news.
Well, wait. How do you define press? You're
the press.
I'm reading the news right now. I'm the press.
Exactly my point. Vague.
It's very vague, right? So let's stop right there, right? You talk about.
Let's do expression first.
Let's do expression. If TikTok's not around, okay? Careful, you're bumping that.
Right, I just realized.
All right. If TikTok's not around, if TikTok goes away, right? Does that mean Americans no longer have the ability to express themselves? I mean, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got
exactly.
You get all these other platforms.
That's the other argument,
right? So,
but then the argument could be saying, what's wrong? Why not this platform?
Again, there it goes. Is Congress passing a law that's limiting speech and expression, or is Congress passing a law that is punishing and protecting American citizens while punishing a foreign influence that is trying to do something within the boundaries of national security?
Right.
Again,
and boundaries of national security is so vague because what has the company technically been proven to have done wrong? I'm not here to defend TikTok. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Okay.
I'm bringing up posing questions.
Yep.
What evidence do you have to pose, or what evidence do you have that can, substantiate those claims of national security?
Well, here's NBC News. A law signed by President Joe Biden in April. By the way, for everybody out there who's like an anti-Trumper, says he's going to live, Trump wants to keep TikTok. Okay? Joe Biden's the one that signed the law and said, no, we got to ban it. So, all right. A law signed by President Joe Biden in April requires TikTok to divest from its Chinese ownership and sell to a U.S. company or it'll be shut down. Now, wait a minute. I'm a capitalist and I'm a free market man. I got a lot of problems with that first statement.
That's also my other problem. Is this enforcing the law or is this enforcing American economics?
Isn't this bordering on socialism, dictatorship? When the government is now telling the free market what to do, because the people say, we want this product, we want to put our money and our time and our effort into this.
Laissez-faire.
Yeah, laissez-faire. Hands off. Okay. If the Supreme Court declares the law unconstitutional before then, which I think they will, I really think the U.S. Supreme Court is going to err on the side of free market capitalism and err on the side of free speech. All right. TikTok can continue to exist as it is today. All right. But a final decision has not been made by TikTok on what will happen if the Supreme Court rules against the company, according to the person with knowledge of the discussion who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly. Active conversations, including phone calls and meetings, were ongoing as of midday on Wednesday, today, the person said. A Tuesday report from the Information from the information said that if the justices uphold the law, the app will go dark rather than allow people already on the app to continue using it. Citing 2 unnamed sources, it said we're familiar with TikTok's plans.
So they're going dark regardless.
Well, it
sounds like.
If the Supreme Court doesn't rule in their favor, they're going dark. Now, here's the thing: what if the Supreme Court doesn't rule by Sunday? Do they just go, okay, we're going to pull the plug?
Probably.
I mean,
I imagine
that's a pretty good threat. But oh my God. Another option being discussed, according to the person who spoke with NBC News, is the potential for content to still be viewable on TikTok for users
but
with the application. Post. Yep, through the app would no longer receive updates. It would be unavailable for new downloads. Oh, so it'd be like an archive.
It'd be like, so you can get on the app, you can look at stuff, you can't post anything unless you're in another country or your account's from another country. I don't know how it works. If you select a region or whatever, or if it can just tell where you are.
January 19th, going dark. I mean, really. Dude, a lot of stuff happens on January 19th, the day before President Trump takes office. This is what happened in India when TikTok was banned there on June 29, 2020. Nicole Pawar, who founded the tech policy publication Media Nama in India, told NBC News that the app shut down the night the ban went into effect. By morning, we found that TikTok wasn't accessible, so the effect was immediate. It was just one evening access was just cut off. Users had nowhere to go. Brands that were advertising on TikTok had nowhere to go. And that's the thing I feel bad. There are so many small businesses
that rely on
this. People who try to make a living for themselves, just eke out a living. I mean, not even like, we're not talking huge corporations. We're talking people just trying to eke out a living. Yeah, this service is not available. There's what it looked like. Shout out. Oh my God. He had 200 million internet users in India at the time.
I mean, it would be kind of good for the youth. One less platform.
Look, did you see
one less platform?
What are the 2 biggest?
I'm not advocating for the ban. I'm just saying, health-wise,
listen,
we could do a lot better socially.
Listen, the youth for social media are going to find a way, because here's what's happening. There's the 2 biggest downloads on the App Store right now: RedNote, another Chinese platform, and Lemon or Lemonade, I believe it's called, which I believe is. Quote me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. I believe it's another Chinese, but it's like Instagram. RedNote is sort of like Instagram, and I guess Lemonade is sort of like TikTok. So I mean, they're going with those. So, oh wait, they're talking about it here. Hold on.
Here you go.
Within 2 months of the TikTok ban in India, Instagram rolled out its TikTok competitor Reels, and YouTube released its competitor Shorts. They are also the primary alternative platforms for short-form video content in the U.S. Although Americans have flocked to a Chinese app called RedNote in recent days. I have no idea about RedNote. I've never heard of it. All right. Pushing it to the top of Apple's App Store, which is quite a feat. Hey, you took out Candy Crush. India has banned almost 500 Chinese apps so far.
Are we that surprised?
No, we're not that surprised. Careful with the table. You're shaking me.
I'm not. That's not me. At least I don't think it's me. I'm just doing this.
He said he's unable to access TikTok with a virtual private network or VPN, which has been floated as a way to get around the ban by some U.S. users. That's not going to get around the ban.
Yeah, they're going to shut that down real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have no idea what RedNote is, and I guess people are flocking to it. You could look up, see how many downloads or how many users or how many whatever. So yeah. So is it a free speech issue, or is it a national security issue, or is it an expression issue? Like, there's so much. I don't think the justices are going to screw around here and do anything that's going to potentially smell of taking away people's freedom of expression and free speech. I just don't see it. I don't see it because...
Too dangerous. A dangerous precedent to set.
Well, if you're a constitutionalist, like I think many of the conservative justices are, here's a question. Where in the Constitution does it give Congress the power to regulate this platform, a foreign platform? Where in the there's nowhere in it, right? There's nowhere it gives it specific power. I mean, it may give us some regulatory power here and there, trade and money and interstate commerce could be kind of played into it a little bit, but yeah, I think.
Wow, yeah, you're right. Sorry, going back to RedNote, it is number 1.
Yeah.
It is crushing it.
Yeah.
Top free iPad apps is what I'm looking at.
Really, iPad?
Yeah, it's on the iPad.
All right. So I think I think now I could be completely wrong because I'm not in the heads of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Get in them, gringo. Come on. What else are we here for?
But I don't see them. Hey, Clyde. Yeah, thank God Trump won. Yeah, thank God he did win because we're going to talk about the war in a second. I don't think they're going to do this. I don't think that they're going to shut this down.
I think, again, like I said, what was it, a month ago now?
Yeah.
They're going to side on the, air of caution, right?
Yeah.
And they're not going to go forward with it because you could reinterpret that judicial decision in so many different ways once you make that strike.
Once you open that door, ooh.
You can't really close it. There's no way to close it.
I mean, I look at this, the only thing I can really compare it to right now, similar that I've heard of recent, was when Brazil decided to start shutting down Twitter. I'm like, or X, right? Like, that's not right. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with them shutting down TikTok. I don't agree with them interfering with the market. Look, here's my thing. If I can be a little bit more sort of wide, big picture about it. If the big concern is that China is going to start influencing the culture to the point where we're going to become un-American, then maybe we should look at maybe the government, instead of saying, hey, let's ban these people, maybe the government should look in the mirror and say, what are we doing that maybe we should do differently to make the rest of the country go, okay, you know what? It's good being an American. It's, capitalism is good, and or democracy is good, or free speech is good. Somewhere along the lines, that train went off the rail, and no one's trying to figure out how to put it back on the rail, right? Instead of figuring out like how to keep all these outside sources. And there's been way too much censorship. There's been way too much censorship in the last 8 years. Way too much censorship. I believe in some regulation when it comes to minors, right?
Regulation is important. Regulation is important for any industry.
Sure.
Let's get that out of the way before we sound like we're not for it. But
and this whole idea of misinformation and Mark Zuckerberg, thank God he took a 180 now and they're going a different way with their fact checkers, or getting rid of their fact checkers. Look, if you post, okay, I'll give you an example. The other day, I was trying to get some content ready for the stream, and your mother came in and she showed me this post from this person on a YouTube short or an Instagram reel or something. And it was this woman, and she's like, it's happened. The fire chief of LA has been fired. Right? And made it out, and this person's, and it's just some person just talking, saying it's and you think of like the way they set it up. It's like, it's real news. It's real. This is true. And I look at it, I go, that's not true. Mm-hmm. Because I actually took 2 seconds to look it up and go, is that true? And it came up, no, this is not true. Blah, blah, blah. And it's a statement from the mayor and from the fire chief, right? Saying this is not true, blah, 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 all that, right? But that person has a right to post that if they want to.
Exactly.
If it's a lie, it's a lie, right?
We should have more confidence in the people.
Yeah.
To be educated or smart enough.
Yeah.
To either fact check it themselves or be aware of the facts and what's going on. The happenings.
Or
the goings.
Or also, the government should reestablish its credibility, because it has none, right? The government comes out and they say something, half the country doesn't believe him. Trump comes out and says something, half the country doesn't believe him. Biden comes out and says something, most of the country doesn't believe him. Dr. Fauci came out and everybody was like, he's a hero, he's this, when he first came out and the pandemic started, right? By the end of the pandemic, half the country didn't believe him. And it might have been good because there was so much misinformation, mishandling, just mistakes made, and there's no accountability, no credibility.
Right,
and that's
it was
why,
a wild time, Wild West.
But that's continued to today. So when you have this vacuum of credibility, when you have this vacuum of trust, again, when you have that open, it's perfect for an outside entity. Let's say China does want to do bad things, and they want to influence people badly. They want to say untruths, and they want to say it's easy for them to come right in, right? The hard work is earning that credibility and that trust back.
Yeah, it's easy to destroy it.
It's way easy to destroy it. And no one's doing nothing about it. I mean, you still hear the same lies repeated over and over and over again. Whether it's, I was listening to Adam Schiff today with Pam Bondi, and they're talking about January 6th and talking about the Russian collusion. I'm like, he's still spouting it like it's true. And it wasn't true. But he's there. There's a U.S. senator spouting it live on national TV, like it's the truth. And people are going to watch it and believe it. And then the other people are going to go, that's BS. He was censured, formally censured, but he's still saying the same things that he was formally censured for. So, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve sometimes. Maybe.
I should say you reap what you sow. That's the right term.
That's a great biblical quote. Yes, you do reap what you sow. So TikTok, I hope it doesn't go away because I will feel terrible for the
small businesses. The
people who rely on it. For the people who do the little dances and whatnot, yeah, I know you get a little fun out of it, and that's fine. I could care less about that. For me, I look at it as like people use this because they can't afford to advertise. They're small businesses, so they're doing whatever they can, right? And so that's just what we want to go with. That's I hopefully this does not occur. This does not occur, but
we'll see. We'll see in a few days.
We'll see in a few days.
Tomorrow we have a decision.
Yeah, tomorrow they've got to come. I'm guessing they're going to get one by tomorrow or by Friday. They've got to
Friday. I imagine
point.
Friday. They want to save the weekend for any other big things that might come up, or just kind of just settle in. A return of a president.
Yeah, and just
let's not try to overshadow something significant as well.
They've got, I think there's no way they dropped this on January 20th.
No, Friday. Or Friday.
Besides, there's so much preparation work that needs to be done for Monday. That Supreme Court building is going to be shut down. There's going to be so much. That's what
much. The Friday is pretty much their realistic deadline. Sunday is like, that's like me doing a paper that I forgot to do. But, in 2 hours. Yeah. It's like, 20 pages? No problem.
So, we'll see. All right, the other big news. So, anyways, that's where I fall into TikTok. If you disagree, you disagree. I can appreciate that. I can totally appreciate. China's known for stealing technology. China's known for stealing stuff. I get that, but they've been known for doing that for 30 years, and now all of a sudden we're going to start taking away freedoms. It's like, why are you punishing people in this country?
I feel like we should just get better at protecting our stuff.
Maybe we should get way.
Am I wrong?
Anyways,
we got higher priorities here.
Yeah. The other big story, and it's a big story because of a few reasons. Israel and Hamas agreed to a deal to pause the fighting in Gaza. And from one Arab who, thank God, because it was what happened on October 7th a couple of years ago was absolutely atrocious. And what's continued to happen, and hostages being held, is just amazingly just. So here's the deal. They're going to pause the fighting. Doesn't mean the war is over.
Yeah, I thought see a lot of people celebrating already. I'm like, guys,
settle down.
It's good.
All right.
6 weeks.
They're going to give, 6 weeks. They're going to give 23 or 33 hostages back.
I thought it was 23, 24.
23 or 24, okay.
I could be wrong.
It's women. I didn't hear anything about children.
I think some children, yes. I think the women and children.
Well, here's the thing. Remember the baby that was, the famous baby that was abducted that day? He celebrated his first birthday as a hostage.
Right.
If he's not freed by January 18th, he's going to be this baby's going to be celebrating his second birthday as a hostage. It's crazy. And let's face it. Also, by the way, if you think Hamas has treated, I can't read that from here. If you think Hamas, holding my breath and praying too, Clyde. But if you think Hamas has treated those women, those female hostages, with any amount of respect, then you don't know. These women are going to come back. They're going to be hurt. They're going to be traumatized. They're going to be, they will have suffered some. You will not hear about it in the mainstream media because it'll be so horrific. But we've heard about what they do to female hostages before. There's been stories about it before. It's been terrible. And so they're going to need a lot of help. They're going to need a lot of love. They're going to need a lot of support. And thank God they are getting Now, a lot of the hostages that they've been holding are dead. You're gonna get dead bodies back. And for the Jewish faith, that's an important thing, right? Is it more important than getting your loved ones back alive? No, not even close. But again, it's important because burial is a very, very important part of the Jewish faith and the Jewish way of life. But they are pausing. There's a lot. Here's the thing. President Biden came out today and he was announcing this. It was a week ago, less than a week ago, President Trump came out and said, listen, before I'm inaugurated, I want a deal and I want the hostages to be freed. Or, and this is his words, they'll be held to pay. Within a week, we get this deal. And the deal goes into effect when? January 19th.
They also had, what was it? One of the members of, I think, the Trump office or Trump administration.
Steve Witkoff.
I was like, Steve Witkoff. Somebody.
Special envoy to Gaza and Israel.
Yeah,
yes.
He was there. And involved. I imagine heavily.
So President Biden was asked as he's walking away from the podium, does President Trump deserve any credit for this? And he stopped. He turned around with this smirk. He goes, "Is that a joke?" And then walked off. No, it's not a joke, because the war's been going on for 2 years, and you've all done shit to get it to stop. And all of a sudden, Trump comes in. He says one thing. A week later, we're freaking getting hostages.
Well, I think it's because you have to take. This is kind of, the difference between being a career politician, right?
Yep.
And being still an outsider. Even though he was a president, he's still an outsider.
He still
means what he says.
He means what he says.
Politicians will
Clyde, absolutely. I mean, Steve and Trump were the only things that they were critical to this. Now, it really mirrors. I mean, it's very eerie. If you ask who's the biggest failure of a president within the last 75 to 100 years, many people will tell you Jimmy Carter.
Right.
Just
passed.
And he just passed away. In the last year of Jimmy Carter's administration, what happened? You had the Iranian Revolution, right? They took a lot of hostages, American hostages, and held them for almost a year, and we couldn't do anything. Carter couldn't get them freed. Carter couldn't get them released. Carter couldn't get the military right. What happens? Well, some guy named Ronald Reagan starts running for office, running for president, and he's like Trump, but he's not like Trump. Trump will come out and just say they'll be hell to pay. Reagan doesn't say that. Reagan
cracks a joke. Reagan cracks a joke, and then you start reading into it, and you're like, oh, maybe I should lock the doors tonight.
Yeah, Reagan will tell you in no uncertain terms, through a joke, through a little quip, it's like talking to Grandpa, right? But if I piss off Grandpa, he's gonna whip my ass. Right? What happened? What happened a week or 2 weeks before Reagan was inaugurated?
I believe the Iranian hostages
they were freed. The Iranian hostages were freed. Why? Because Iran didn't want to screw around with that guy, right? So,
Carter lived long enough for Biden to take that spot. He certainly did.
I think he did.
I think he was keeping the seat warm.
I think absolutely you could say Biden is the biggest failure in so many ways, and I think. And the problem with Biden, he's not going to live long enough to at least cultivate the legacy that Jimmy Carter cultivated after his presidency. Jimmy Carter won a Nobel Peace Prize. Why? He built houses. He
redeemed himself.
He redeemed himself as a human being and as a senior diplomat around the world, and earned this respect and all that. Biden's not going to last long enough to do that. He's just going to be known as the guy that effed up everything. So Iran doesn't want to deal with Trump. So they're like, release the hostages. Gaza Hamas, they don't want to deal with Trump. They're like, release the hostages and start putting in a deal. Right? Netanyahu doesn't want to they don't want to deal with Trump's lunacy, because he's going to be like, listen, I'm going to go nuts if I don't get my hostages.
Have you heard the rhetoric?
Yeah.
I think any individual who's in a bad spot or is in his crosshairs is going to be more, not influenced. There's a word. Encourage. That's the word. Encourage to make, deals and
So
get along with this.
Thank God we're getting some hostages released. Hopefully now they're not releasing men, especially men of military age and things like that, which again
sucks.
And we don't even know we don't know how many are alive. We're releasing Israel's given up some prisoners as well, which I get it. You don't like it, but I get it. The key is, now there was a report today, and I'm not sure how true it is, right? And I only saw it on one network, is that the amount of fighters, the personnel that Hamas has lost in the fighting over the last couple of years, in the last few months, they've regained all that personnel. Now, where are they? They're probably either in Iran. They're not in Gaza.
I would start looking towards what happened in Syria. I talked to you about this a couple of weeks ago when they had that little, revolution, right? Because it lasted
Syria.
It was like 3 days.
Yeah.
I said usually what ends up happening to these military members, is they'll flee, and they fled to Iraq, which is Iranian controlled.
Yeah.
And they can't go back to Syria because they're afraid of being persecuted or tried for war crimes, whether they committed them or not.
Yeah.
So they have no option but to usually join a terror cell.
I have no doubt.
Which usually happens. I mean, that's how you got ISIS.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Exactly how you got it.
I have no doubt you're right. And so...
that's probably where they came from. They have the training already as military, so it's honestly quite convenient.
But the last thing we need is this war this war is not over. It's not over.
Oh, no.
This is paused. I don't know if this war's ever going to be over.
Not until one is either destroyed, and even then, the other guys.
But even then, so I don't know if it's ever going to be over. But some families hopefully going to get some good news, and
I'm sure some families got some good news. Earlier today with the ceasefire, being able to go finally see each other and reunite. That's nice.
So I mean, they announced it; it's official. So hopefully nothing's. Here's my concern. There's some sort of outside entity that's not involved in these negotiations that doesn't want to see this end. That doesn't like it and does something stupid like some faction of Iran or some.
I was gonna say, I mean,
somebody does something stupid. Some group does something stupid.
Historically,
Hezbollah does something stupid.
Sorry, historically in this conflict, that's usually what happens.
It's usually what happens.
And
it just ignites again.
Remember, this guy wasn't part of the faction, but I believe it was early 2000s. The president, I guess, is that the title in Israel? President or prime minister?
President of Israel.
Yeah, president of Israel got assassinated by an Orthodox Jew extremist.
Yeah.
Something like that always occurs, and you can look back at history. It's like, okay, someone gets assassinated, turmoil, conflict again, break, assassination, turmoil, conflict again. It's not been a good track record.
No, it's not. And the thing is, there's a real opportunity here. It's a real opportunity with Syria being in the state that it's in, with finally being free of Assad and that criminal. And
there's a vacuum still.
It's still a vacuum. It's still a vacuum, but you know what? I think
I got hope for them.
I got
a lot of hope for that place.
The problem is Hezbollah, and the problem is Iran. The problem is
Iran. I'm a little hesitant on Turkey.
Well, Turkey just wants the bullshit there. They just
Turkey also wants control again. That's Turkey's whole thing is they want what they had before.
Well, it's like, okay.
That's always been the goal.
It's like, okay, it's like you live in a middle class neighborhood, nice houses, right? You and your mother happen to move into the one house that's next to the train tracks where you cross the train tracks and it's a freaking war zone, right?
Right.
It's freaking Boston or, downtown South Side, right?
It's Saudi.
That's what it's like being Turkey.
I think that's what it's like being any country in the Middle East.
Well,
Have you looked in that region? I mean, it's not really.
But Turkey they're trying to be so.
North Africa, that's like the worst.
They want to be European, but keep their cultural Arab traditions and roots.
But they're not Arab. They're Turkish, which is central.
I get it, but they have the Blue Mosque there and all that. It's symbolic.
They have a weird mix of everything. Yeah. It's weird because if you go from Western Turkey, they all look like Greek. I'm not saying they're Greek, but they have very similar faces to Greeks. I've been to Istanbul. And then you go as you move more, closer to like the east, it turns more Arab, and the further and the really far east, it turns real kind of Turks. We're talking Asian steppes.
Yeah, it's
crazy. It's a very diverse country. So beautiful too.
I think that that's for them, but I think there's a real opportunity if Egypt stays in the negotiations, if Qatar stays in I call him Qatar. People call him Qatar. I call him Qatar.
I used to call him Qatar, but then somebody told me it's Qatar. But then I looked up and apparently it is Qatar. But it's also Qatar.
I don't mean to insult anybody from Qatar.
I don't know anymore. I was told two things. Someone from Qatar told me it's Qatar. Another person said it's Qatar.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Well, if Egypt stays in there, if Qatar stays in there,
the U.S. is staying there a little bit.
They're going to have to go. The next step is Lebanon. Figure out Lebanon.
Saudi
Arabia is going to have to step up and be like, listen, okay.
We're going to be the chiefs on this. We're taking charge.
We'll help you lead this. Yemen is a mess. I mean, they're one of the top 5 poorest countries in the world.
Well, it's still civil war. It's
still civil war. It's still got the Houthi rebels. They're still backed by Iran. But eventually, it's going to have to. You have to isolate Iran. If you don't isolate, if Trump's going to come in, if he doesn't isolate Iran like he did before, none of what's happening right now matters except for the release of the hostages.
And then also, the Turkey's the wild card still because yes, they're on our side, but they're also looking for their own gain here too. I'm nothing wrong with Turkey looking for their own benefit. I think any country in that region should be looking for, benefits. But
So
it's a mess.
this is what, okay.
It's messy.
The incoming president, Trump, said a week ago that all hell will break out in the Middle East if the hostages aren't released by the time he is inaugurated on January 20th, repeating a threat he made earlier. He hasn't explained what he means, but said last week it wouldn't be good for Hamas, or frankly, for anyone. And I think he's just like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with the BS. It's like, you want to fight? Then let's fight. You know, tomato. Yeah, you're right. Qatar.
I mean,
so hopefully this.
Can we fix the sandbox? Can we fix the sandbox?
No fixing the sandbox.
Can we please fix the sandbox?
I just don't.
I've been to the sandbox. It's the people are nice for the most part. Sometimes they speak and it sounds scary, but they are really nice people.
Yeah.
But I say that because my taxi driver was one time yelling at somebody in Arabic. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. Well, listen,
changed real quick.
I had the opportunity. Well, I was stuck in Houston Airport. I was stuck there overnight. But during like the hours of like 6, 7, 8 o'clock, right? These gentlemen, these documentary filmmakers. One was from Jordan. One was from Qatar. I think one was from Lebanon. They just sat across the table from me because the whole place was filled up because there were a lot of delays in flights. And we started talking. And, of course, they're from the area. And we started to, of course, it goes right to this topic. Here's what struck me. And these are good guys, good people. These weren't bad people. These weren't mean people, right? But there was a lack of ability to move on the issue. There's a line in the sand, and we're not crossing it.
Right.
There's no, like, hey, maybe you both could.
DMZ.
There's no line in the sand, and it's the way they explained it, you know? Well, yeah, the funding should be, the funding will hopefully be stopped. And that's, you know what, that's what I was thinking about.
I think that was his threat also was like, hey, listen, you don't settle this soon. Yeah. We're not sending you more money.
But here's what I was thinking about. You look big picture and you look at the Biden administration. You look at this. You look at, people like, they left all this equipment in Afghanistan, right? Billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, we pretty much just fully
Ukraine.
Armed an army.
Yep. You get the war in Ukraine, you get the war in Gaza, and you got all the stuff that we left there.
Things hit the fan quickly.
You know what
3 years,
you know what
4
I
years?
you know what I forgot to do, what I really want to do is from the time that Biden took office to maybe like the time of the election, a few months ago, is to see exactly what the stocks did for like the biggest defense contractors.
Oh,
through the roof, right?
I did great.
I'm sure you did greid, right?
Well, I had ETFs, and that's
so part of me looks at this as like, was this all just a money laundering thing? Was this all just for money?
Well,
like, did Biden make the decision to say we're going to leave all the equipment because his buddies are all going to get the contracts of the defense to make more for Afghanistan? Right, where he left it all in Afghanistan?
Probably not that. Probably that. Maybe I hope that wasn't the case.
Why else would you leave it?
I don't know why. Then they say what was the whole reason they gave? I can't remember.
One general said
it cost more to like.
Said it was cheaper to leave it. No, it can't be cheaper to leave. If a tank costs $10 million to make,
you better fill that tank up and start driving south.
It can't be $10 million to move that one effing tank.
That's got to be a BS reason.
Yeah.
I get stuck back in Afghanistan again. We did that for 20 years, but can we take our tanks back?
There's a famous monologue. There's a famous scene in JFK, the movie JFK with Kevin Costner. It's got Donald Sutherland playing Mr. X. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you want to know about the war? He goes, look at Bell. He goes, look at Bell helicopter. How many helicopters have we lost during the war? 3,000. How much money are we making? How much money is being spent?
Follow it.
Billions and billions. Like, you want to know about the war? Follow him. Why is Vietnam continuing? Why is Vietnam such why was JFK such a threat to the establishment? Because he wanted to end the war in Vietnam. And there was billions of dollars being spent. Money they hadn't seen since World War II. Right?
Money they needed, too.
So
listen, military industrial complex, there's a lot of good things for the American economy. I can't lie. I cannot lie. If you look at the money, that economy booms pretty well. Oil goes up, gas goes up.
It does, but
is it morally good? No, it's not morally sound. It's not morally right.
I don't know. I can't because you lose
It's called war profiting.
It's war profiting, but you lose people.
Yeah,
you lose
it's not
people.
good.
General Milley, I think that was his name. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, General Milley's the one that said it. You're right, Clyde. General Milley's the one that said it that Trump quotes all the time. It's cheaper.
The one he hates, right?
Yeah, he hates Milley. Milley hates him too, but he hates Milley because he's like Milley. He calls Milley an idiot, and he is.
I don't like calling chiefs of staff idiots, but I mean, yeah, you come out and say that, that's pretty dumb.
Hey, you know what? I had all the respect in the world for Colin Powell, and he was Secretary of State, and he was an Army. He was the Chief of Staff. But you know what? He still went to the United Nations knowing in his gut that it wasn't the right thing to say, and because of his
he was
words,
given an order by the president.
And he could have said, you know what? I retire. But he caused. I
don't think that was the time to retire.
Sure, it was. Okay, if your choice is go to the United Nations and lie to the entire world about weapons of mass destruction,
right? And I hear that, but I'm talking about like from an American perspective of what had just happened a few years prior, and everything else going on. I don't think you had really a choice. I'm sure he did. I mean, he says that's his biggest mistake he ever made and biggest regret. He always goes out and says that.
Sure, but how many? His biggest regret. He still lived to an old age.
I imagine his hands were tied. There's something more to that.
I don't know because here's the thing. While working for Apple, I hired a lot of veterans. I really tried to make it a point to hire veterans. If someone came in to me and said I'm ex-military, I always interviewed them, and I always tried to find a reason to hire them. Usually, when you interview people, you're looking for a reason. You're looking for them to give you a reason not to hire them. With veterans, I'm like, okay, and they tell me I'm an Iraq War veteran or I'm an Afghanistan.
Yeah, you just feel terrible.
I'm like, let me tell you something. Some of these guys went through,
and they just want a normal life.
Fucking hell.
They just want a normal life.
One of them, we created a new position in Apple for the first time. It's called a technical expert. It's for something to fixing phones. They were like an iPhone expert to fix phones, right? And it was the first time, and this is years ago. And this one guy, kid, I call him a kid. He couldn't be more than 25, right?
Yeah, they're young.
And he came back from Iraq, and I said, and he was awesome. And I said, I'm going to promote you. Promoted him, but then the PTSD became too much, and he just disappeared. And finally, I found out, what happened to him. And it's not good what happened to him. I'm not going to mention to it. But you know what? These veterans go through hell.
Right.
And that's where, so anyway. So
and you don't want to see them on the street.
No.
It's
not that. But when I think of Colin Powell, and I watched that speech in front of the UN live, I watched it, and I said, okay, and something don't smell right. So when I think about the military-industrial complex, and I know, I understand the whole money thing. I understand.
I'm not supporting it.
I'm not supporting it. I understand there's a balance. There's got to be a balance, though. There's got to be a balance, and it's got to be done without war. I don't know.
Yeah.
But hopefully this can get straightened out. Hopefully, because there's just too much on fire in the world.
Speaking of fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
A smooth transition, question mark?
Yeah, Clyde, they carry a burden. I mean, they carry a burden, and I was this one older gentleman, and he always shook. His hands always shook. His name was Rich. No, it's just because of the shell shock.
The PTSD,
right? It's just his nerves were gone. Greatest guy in the world, but he's like his nerves are gone. He's nice, quiet. Nerves are gone, just gone, and that's the way he's going to be for the rest of his life. Is just this. Yeah, and
that breaks your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, when I went to university, I think it was my second semester, third semester, guy from Northeastern studying abroad, Marine veteran, Iraq. I believe I still follow him. Nice guy. Sometimes they cope with he copes with the war, his experience there with jokes because he lost his buddies right next to him. And sometimes I'll still, I'll look at his Instagram and he's still coping with it. He'll post every year. Yeah. Memory goes to the grave. They just never leave. They never leave there. Never leave there. They never leave.
Yeah. So it's tough. So hopefully this all comes to an end. It's tough to talk about. It really is tough to talk about. And again, hopefully in a few days, everything changes. Everything changes. Okay. We're going to get to a couple more serious things, but I want to lighten the mood a little bit before we talk about the Secretary of Defense and talk about Pam Bondi, Attorney General. Apparently, people are pissed off with Coca-Cola.
I love Coca-Cola.
You love Coca-Cola.
I drink it all the time.
We live in Mexico. They live on Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
accurate.
like, honest to God.
As your local beaner, I can confirm this.
They live on it. I mean, but Donald Trump is a Diet Coke fanatic. He doesn't drink coffee, tea. He doesn't drink liquor. They call him a teetotaler, right? Yeah, shell shock. That's what it is. But he doesn't Diet Coke. Drinks tons of Diet Coke all the time. Loves McDonald's. So Coca-Cola is like, we're going to make you a commemorative bottle because of for your inauguration.
That's nice.
That's nice. What's wrong with that?
I mean, he drinks your product all the time. He always
Yeah.
talks about it. You might as well make him at least a bottle.
They're calling it a corporate tribute. The Coca-Cola company honored Diet Coke fanatic Donald Trump with his very own personalized Diet Coke bottle design on Tuesday and promptly divided opinion online. While supporters of the president-elect predictably lapped up the promotional stunt, critics fizzed with anger and recalled the company's condemnation of Trump just 4 years ago, following his incitement of the deadly January 6, 20. Okay, this is the Huffington Post, so this is a very left-leaning article, okay? So there he is, drinking his Diet Coke right there. Yeah. Hey, if we could put Dylan Mulvaney on a fucking Bud Light, I'm okay with President Trump getting his own Coke bottle, okay? In fact, it's not even a comparison. You know what? It's not even a comparison. He's president. And if Coca-Cola wants to say, you know what? We want to do something for the president, they do something for the president. I think we should be okay with that. The returning president reportedly drinks up to 12 Diet Cokes a day. God. Damn.
He's almost matching me. I'm joking. Yeah, I do not drink that much. I wish I could.
Dude, what's his blood sugar? Jeez.
It's diet.
It's diet, that's true.
That is a cool bottle. That's a very cool bottle.
It is a very cool bottle.
No, he looks so happy to hold it. He's like, yes.
Oh, you got a picture of him?
Yes. He's just there posing with it.
So, very cool. Very, very cool.
That is a very nice bottle. I want that. Put in the collection. Do you think he'll drink from it? I imagine he will.
I imagine he'll drink from it.
Do you think they gave him two? One to like drink from, one to keep in like a shelf, like in case he's like a collector?
I'm sure they gave him multiple.
I hope they gave him like a
I'm sure
multiple.
they gave him multiple.
No, it looks like only one.
Well,
at least the photo here. Nice
one.
package and everything. Oh, okay, hold on. You can kind of read. That's a little blurry. Oh, it seems like this is something they do always. We're proud because if you look at the Coca-Cola company, like if you look in the box here in one of the photos, it says here, we're proud to continue our decades-long tradition of celebrating the U.S. presidential inauguration with a commemorative bottle. So it seems like they've done this.
Oh, so this isn't just a Trump thing.
This seems like from what it sounds like, it seems like something they do. They just maybe made this one. They made this one specifically.
So people who didn't vote for Trump didn't just want to skip him?
I think so. But I think this one's so special because it's Diet Coke. That's why. Because it's normally a normal Coca-Cola bottle, so this one's like, oh, we'd make you a diet because that's what
Make you diet because that's what he drinks.
Yeah,
whatever.
I think that's the
fine,
point.
Whatever. That's gonna chap your ass, man. Oh god, there's so much in the world going on. If that's chapping your ass,
so it looks like, from what I can tell, this is like a thing they always do, which is awesome. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
All right.
I have nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's not good. Even if it was like another president, if it was Kamala, I wouldn't care. It's Coca-Cola.
It's
Think I'm
Coca-Cola.
gonna stop drinking Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at me, gringo.
I know you love your Coke. You love it. You love it.
That is more valuable to me than anybody in office.
You used to hide it around the house so I couldn't find it.
I would take it, stash it. Dude, I had the greatest hiding spot next to my bed.
Yep.
2 a.m. reading a book. Psst. No problem. I still
else?
hide it in my room.
Yep. Yeah, haters are going to hate. Haters are definitely going to hate, buddy. All right, let's talk about Pete Hegseth. How do you feel about Pete Hegseth?
I have no real strong opinion about him.
You don't really watch Fox News, so you don't really know.
I do watch the news. I read the news a lot more now.
You read it a lot
more now. I read it. He was the guy. Was he like the Fox? If I'm not mistaken,
yeah.
The one where I first heard, I was like, all they said was he's a commentator on Fox, and I was like, that doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
But now I found out more about him. I'm like, okay,
Military veteran.
It's like, okay, you're really qualified for the most part. Well, not as qualified as others or those before you, but at least you have like real hand, experience.
Did you happen to catch any of his confirmation hearing?
No.
So
unfortunately, I've been gone the whole day.
So I thought the Democrats absolutely embarrassed themselves. Yeah, I think he's going to be great. Actually, I watched the whole hearing, and I think he's going to be freaking great.
Also, you are right about the Diet Coke. That is how he gets his work done.
Yeah, that's how he gets.
That's how I get my work done. You see me without Coke.
But the Democrats absolutely. I mean, Tim Kaine, Tammy Duckworth, those senators, they absolutely embarrassed themselves by talking. They talked about his daughter. They talked about his ex-wife. They talked about all sorts of stuff they should never. It just didn't belong, right? You've been divorced. How many senators have been divorced, right? So should they be not senators anymore, right? You don't bring.
Personal life is supposed to stay out.
Yeah, I mean, what are the policies? What are the right? What I love is that this story went around, and Hegseth explained it a couple of different times, and he explained it here during the hearing. They gave him a chance. One of the Republican senators gave him a chance. On his chest, he's got many tattoos, and on his chest, right about here, he's got what they call a Jerusalem cross. It's a cross. They call it a Jerusalem cross. It was labeled, and he was labeled a white supremacist for it by his own government. And while in the National Guard told he could not guard the inauguration of Joe Biden, they pulled him off of it. Yeah, they showed they're desperate. It was absolutely desperate. You're absolutely right. It was absolutely desperate. And he explained, he goes, no, this is it's a traditional Christian symbol. And then what was amazing is he goes, by the way, we just had Jimmy Carter's funeral. Have any of you been to the National Cathedral? And of course, most of these senators have probably been to the National Cathedral.
But they've never paid attention. Paid attention.
What is embedded in the marble on the floor, right in the front? A Jerusalem cross. What is displayed up on the wall right behind the pulpit? A Jerusalem cross.
I'm familiar with this cross. So I lived in Rome. I mean, it's all over the place.
Are we saying now the National Cathedral of the country is a white supremacist? No, of course we're not. Why? Because these senators are idiots and they're desperate and they should never have said that. And to be called that is just disgusting. They talked about he had a business and should he have been audited. Look, we've all had businesses before. We've all made mistakes, right? Because you have a business and it fails doesn't make you a bad person. And one Republican senator pointed out that Pete Hegseth has probably supervised larger groups of men and women than any senator sitting up there. So, of course, he has the ability to do this. I think he absolutely has the ability to do this. And he's got two priorities. One, get the military ready, right? Lethally military ready. And two, get the bullshit out of the Pentagon. And he means that by the woke. The whole idea of prioritizing DEI over being militarily ready. And he made it clear. He goes, no, women can serve.
I have no problem with anybody serving in the Army.
Yeah.
Just
make sure you...
Make it ready. Do your job. Do your job. That's all I ask.
Don't lower the standards. Don't say, well, we want more of this type of person, so we're going to lower the physical or academic standards to get in. Right? No. Don't do that. And of course, this is from CNN, so it's going to be a little bit leaning, but allegations of sexual misconduct and excessive drinking. Anonymous allegations. And again, we go back to the whole Tik Tok conversation that we had earlier. Why does American government have a lack of credibility? Anonymous. Anytime I hear anonymous now, it's bullshit. If you tell me you have an anonymous source, it's bullshit. Bullshit.
I wish we could say it was true because anonymous was meant to protect people.
Yeah.
Now it's no longer done to do that. Now people have abused it.
Now it's just made up.
Now I can't trust it as much. I want to trust anonymous sources.
Yep.
But I realistically can't. You can't anymore. Not at my age.
Yep. Democratic senators also confronted Hegseth with his prior comments suggesting that women should not serve in combat roles, raising quotes from his book published last year. Hegseth responded, women make amazing contributions to the military, arguing that his comments questioning women serving in combat were tied to the military standards and readiness. That's what he's saying. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, have the same physical standards to be able, otherwise they're going to be in it. Yeah, toxic. Yeah. They complain about toxic masculinity, and it's not. Listen, I want my military to be.
I want my military
hardcore.
Scary.
I want them to be scary.
I want them scary.
I want scary, but I want them trained. I want them disciplined. I want them well equipped.
I want them ready to go.
Because
listen, my tax dollars. I mean, whatever tax dollars I do pay, which is probably none really. I pay little, right?
Yep.
If I remember correctly. Yeah.
He's going to get nominated. They got a majority in the Senate. So he's going to get
They're not
nominated.
gonna. Yeah, they can't reject him. Can't.
He was falsely accused of misconduct in 2017. He was cleared. Why bring it up again if he was cleared by the police?
You're just hurting your case.
You're just hurting your case.
You're just hurting yourself at this point. Come on, boys. We got bigger and better things to do.
Tim Kaine grilled Hegseth further, questioning the nominee's judgment and pushing Hegseth to acknowledge his infidelity from 2017. Okay, he was married. He had infidelity. Excuse me. Who was Tim Kaine's? What did Tim Kaine do? Wasn't he the vice presidential candidate with who was the president? Who was going to be his boss? Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Excuse me, do we want to talk about infidelity? I mean, does Tim Kaine have any right to talk about infidelity?
You kind of just partnered up with the...
partnered up with a woman who's like, infidelity's okay, as long as I get the job.
Pretty much. That's
And he handled... You know what? Pete Hegseth, he's got a lot of media training. I'll grant you that. He's got a lot of media training, so, that helped him out. He handled himself so well. Look, if that's me and I'm being asked questions like that, I might get a little angry. But he kept his cool, and you know what? He made Trump look freaking brilliant for choosing him. Yep. Yeah, I want the toughest man on the planet in the military. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely want the toughest man on the planet. Absolutely.
I also would like them to be a little smart, in the military too.
Yeah, and
I need some competent people. That's what I want. I want competency.
Oh, wait.
Can we bring back competency?
Tammy Duckworth. And I have a lot of respect for Tammy Duckworth. She lost limbs in combat. She's a veteran. I have a lot of respect for her, but she's a Democrat, and she kind of toes that Democratic line. An Army combat veteran who lost her legs serving in Iraq repeatedly pushed Hegseth on his qualifications to run the Pentagon, quizzing him about the international security agreements and negotiations he will be expected to handle in the job. What is the highest level of negotiations that you engage in, that you've led in? Because the Secretary of Defense does lead in international security negotiations. All right, so she kept like, hey, what? Tell me about this. Tell me. Okay, granted, he may not have led international organizations and in agreements or whatnot.
Few people have.
Few people have.
There's not really. You're kind of just.
Few people have.
It's hard to be like, I led the UN in this. Let me take a downgrade pay and
Yeah. So
if you've led in that, you've already kind of reached the pinnacle.
But I think you're looking at the next Secretary of Defense, and I think it's a great pick. I
think he proved himself today.
Yeah. But what was even more fun today? Oh, Pam Bondi. Oh, and you know what? Pam Bondi is an example of old Trump versus new Trump. Old Trump in the very first administration, if he picked somebody to be his attorney general, like Matt Gaetz, and he got all this pushback, he'd say, no, it's going to be Matt Gaetz. He would not rethink it. He'd say, no, it's going to be Matt Gaetz. No, the new Trump, he's like, okay, Matt Gaetz isn't going to work. It's not going to get through. Because the new Trump is no longer just thinking about how to build his team the way he wants it. The new Trump is thinking about how to build his team to get things done because people are counting on him. He has this, bigger picture view. So he goes and he gets the Attorney General of Florida, Pam Bondi, who he knows very well. She helped him out with some cases and things like that. But she went up against the Senate today, and and again, the Democrats tried to rip into her. They tried to get her to say, they said to her, Adam Schiff especially, what an a-hole. And I wonder if it'll play. I wonder if it'll play.
Will this be copyrighted?
No, this won't be
copyrighted. This is better to check.
Okay, here we go. Hopefully this will play. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. Let me know.
So let me start with one very specific non-hypothetical. The president has said Jack Smith should go to jail. Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without looking at a file.
So you would need a factual predicate to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
Not a summary by you sitting here. Yes, sir.
And not a summary by the president either, right?
Absolutely.
So a summary by the president or his desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith. Is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case.
And sitting here, sitting here today,
Senator, 72% of
please,
Americans
I only have 7
lost
minutes.
faith
Sitting
in the
here,
Department of Justice.
Sitting here today,
Statements
are you aware of any factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Sitting here today, yes or no?
Senator, I will look at the facts and the circumstances.
You
of
can't answer that
anything that's
question.
brought to me.
You're not a part of the department yet. There's no worry about divulging
I'm sitting
law
here as a
enforcement
nominee.
sensitive information. So just tell us,
I'm
are you
sitting here as a
aware? Just
nominee.
tell us, are you aware of a factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Yes or no?
Senator, what I'm hearing on the news is
Are you aware of
horrible.
a?
Do I know if
you
he committed?
So that's a tough woman. That's a tough woman. That's a tough, smart woman.
I mean, shuts him down.
Shuts him down. But I mean, he goes into this like he wants her
To say something.
to hold her accountable. Like she doesn't like Jack Smith. I don't know. Did he do something illegal as a special prosecutor? She doesn't know. She hasn't read those files, but she wants him to say that she's not going to go after him, right? Because everybody believes Trump's got this enemies list,
Right.
right?
Maybe he does.
Maybe he does.
Doesn't mean he's going to probably use it.
Adam Schiff had an enemies list because he kept going after Trump all the time and all of Trump's people. I mean, if there's somebody who had an enemies list, it's Adam Schiff. It's the Democrats. They had an enemies list. Steve Bannon, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, all those people. People went to jail, right? So I think Pam Bondi is about as qualified she's way more qualified than Merrick Garland. Way more qualified. And I don't think, as she speaks, I don't think she's going to have a problem looking at Donald Trump and saying no. You know, if Donald Trump has something that he wants investigated because he thinks it needs to be investigated, but he doesn't have a complete understanding of the law in that regards, I think she's going to be able to look at him and go, no, you can't do that because of this, and that. And I think she's going to do exactly that.
I want people to do their job. Can we just have competent people in office?
Right?
That's all I ask for.
Is she going to, they're really afraid that she's going to investigate, what's her name? Liz Cheney.
I mean, the Cheneys.
Does she?
Should they be investigated?
But she gave the right answer.
Right.
She goes, I don't know anything about that case. I don't know anything about January 6th. I don't know anything about the files. I haven't read them and whatnot. Blah 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 blah.
I'm not going to make a comment.
How can I? It's like, how can I tell you? But they kept pushing, and then they were asking about January 6th evidence. There's like Adam Schiff was like, are you going to destroy evidence from the January 6th files? She's like, what are you talking about? Like you couldn't believe you're asking the question. Like you're asking something they're going to destroy.
It's like throwing a Hail Mary.
Even I know.
Like, it's a really bad throw.
Listen, I'm a fucking idiot, right? I'm an educated idiot. But even I know destroying evidence
is like the most illegal thing you can do.
So illegal. But you have a goddamn U.S. Senator from California. By the way, California, while you're on fire, this is what your senator's doing. He's not there helping you. He's not there making sure you're getting money. He's not there making sure anything's going right. He's grilling Pam Bondi about January 6th. That's why, California, you are on fire. You keep electing people like that. You want to elect Democrats, that's fine. Elect Democrats. Do me a favor. Elect actual Democrats, actual real-life Democrats, people who actually believe in the Democratic values. Democratic Party that used to be the Kennedy Party, right?
The party of Kennedy.
Even the party. Shoot, I'll take the party of Bill Clinton at this point. Because,
granted, I don't like what Clinton was doing in his free time, but that's not my business.
That's not my business.
Not my business.
All right?
Not my business.
But there you go. There's your newly elected senator from California grilling this woman over hypotheticals because he's afraid that the shit is going to come down on him. Now, what's going to happen? I guarantee you this. Oh, you know what? Let's make a bet. I will bet you. I will bet. Okay.
What are you betting here?
You don't really have money, do you?
I do.
Okay. I will bet you dinner. Okay, dinner at Taqueria Los Angeles.
No, you know what I'll bet you? I want what I want.
Okay.
I'll give you dinner. I want a hat. I want a hat.
You want a hat? What hat?
I don't know. I just want to have a hat in pocket. You know, I want a receipt in my pocket that says, I can cash this in for a hat from somewhere.
Okay, a new hat. Okay. Dinner for me, hat for you.
Deal.
Okay, I guarantee you that President Biden signs preemptive pardons before he leaves office for Liz Cheney, for Dr. Fauci, for Adam Schiff.
If we're making this bet, I want you to name everyone.
No.
No. You can't have
preemptive pardons. He's going to sign preemptive pardons for people for people that involved in this bullshit. I guarantee you. Yeah, she's playing chess. She's absolutely brilliant.
I'll take
when, Clyde, when she got named by Trump, I was like, that's freaking brilliant. And I felt so bad for DeSantis because I'm like, Governor DeSantis was losing such a key player in his leadership.
Right.
But I'm like, how do you
there's no one better.
All right, let me do this. Let me actually do this comparison. She's Attorney General of Florida.
Right.
Kamala Harris used to be the Attorney General of California. All right, let's compare. Let's look at California on fire. Let's look at Florida. They get hit by a hurricane 2 days later. Everything's rebuilt. Okay, good. That's the difference right there. That's Florida. Conservatism.
I don't mean to shit. Like, I love California. I'm wearing a Padres hat right now. I love
California too.
Love San Diego.
But Kamala Harris.
Please run it better.
Can we just
I'm not saying it has to be Republican. I'm just saying, can we get some?
Yep.
Can we get some things together?
Clyde agrees with me. Absolutely. A ton of pardons.
You know what, Gringo?
But
I don't like the odds on that bet for me, but I'll take it. I'll take the bet.
Okay. It's a cheap dinner. It's Taquero Los Angeles, right?
This is more loss
Just
for you.
tacos,
This is a loss for you.
Amigo.
This is a loss for you. So if by Monday.
Okay.
Monday, because he's out on Monday. So Sunday night.
What kind of hat? We didn't say what kind of hat.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Okay. I'll get you a sombrero.
No.
I'll get you a big old sombrero.
No, it'd be a baseball cap. It'd be a baseball cap. It'd be another baseball cap. Another baseball cap.
All right.
Not me. I'm not going to drain your pockets. I could go for I could go drag you down to Mexico City, Tardan.
Could. Anyways.
Won't do that. I'm not mean.
Anyways.
I'm just an ass.
So, yeah, there's going to be many pardons. Many pardons. So,
Clyde, I don't like how you're on the gringo side on this one.
She should be on my side. Should be on my side.
There will be no dinner. I hope.
There'll be lots of dinner. Let's get rid of some of these tabs here. I'm all choked up here with these tabs.
Thinking about dinner already.
But yeah,
5 days.
She's going to be brilliant. And she's right. She says 73% of Americans do not trust the Department of Justice anymore. That includes the FBI. That includes the Attorney General's office.
I mean, why would you? At this point, I mean, I want to trust him, but
I want to trust him, but I don't.
It's hard to trust him fully.
I don't because you see double standards. When I see
double standards, that's the problem.
For me, the biggest thing is double standards. President Trump has documents. They raid his house in the middle of pre-dawn raid, right? President Biden has the same documents that he shouldn't have had because he took them when he was a senator, so he really shouldn't have taken. So he even broke more of a law. What do? It's no big deal. Give them back to us when you can. They don't raid his house. When it comes to when you start seeing double standards, is when you start losing credibility. I think she's going to be absolutely brilliant. You know what confirmation hearing I can't wait to see? Marco Rubio for Secretary of State.
I saw an article talking about that.
That's going to be knockdown, drag out with the Democrats because he's just going to go at him. Because you know what? He freaking has a mind for foreign policy. He does.
With that, and he's also he's kind of worked with them. He kind of knows everybody. Yeah. He's like, I know about you.
I know about you. I know you. So there we go. All right. You want to do something fun or you want to go to the wildfires?
Let's go wildfires. We're already burning stuff down, you know?
All right.
We've been talking about fires.
I could not believe this effing picture. A week after the LA firestorms began, the threat continues as unprecedented losses sink in. This used to be one of the most affluent neighborhoods in the country. That's the Palisades. Neighborhoods destroyed by the Palisades fire. I mean, that's just... I don't... There's no... It's apocalyptic. Apocalyptic. Yeah, no balance for the scales of justice. You're right. And that's what it is. It's no balance, Clyde. It's no balance. It's just...
With that, injustice is no longer blind, apparently.
Yeah, it's no longer
They took off the blindfold and gave her new eyes.
Oh, by the way, President Biden said everybody's going to get $750.
I saw that.
Your house burned down. You got nothing but the clothes on your back.
Do you remember the World Series?
It's $750.
Do you remember 2017 World Series? This terrible meme, but a terrible meme because remember George Bush?
Yeah.
The old one.
Yeah.
HW, right?
Yeah.
And he's in the wheelchair and he kind of raises the ball. You ever seen that meme?
Yeah.
Well, someone took that picture of the Palestine fires, put Bush in front of it, and it has music playing. You know, the government when your house burns down, and he raises the ball and it says $740. It's just
that's what you're getting.
Terrible.
Oh.
It's funny, but it's like, oh my god.
I don't know what else to...
You lost your $1 million house. Gringo, look at me. $1 million home is gone. Don't worry. $740.
$740.
It's all we could give.
At this point in time, I mean, at this point in time, it's actually...
silly. And horrible.
Yeah, Ukraine gets billions.
That's what
Ukraine gets billions, but these people... Nope. Look, beyond the brink. Okay. This headline, I wanted to wait on this article for when we're streaming. Beyond the brink. Data shows the LA Fire Department among the most understaffed in America. The place that is plagued by wildfires
does
on
not
a
have
yearly
a fire department
basis is understaffed.
Great planning.
I want to say that again because I think it's important.
I think it's important.
To repeat. The second most populous city in the country that is plagued by wildfires on a yearly basis.
Sounds right.
Has one of the most understaffed firefighting departments in the country.
I don't see nothing wrong with that if you do. Or you don't, I should say.
They said they are at the breaking point. Oh my dear.
Now they're at the breaking point. Have you looked at the city?
Let's see here. I'm going to say what people can't say, said Freddie Escobar, president of the city's fire union and a veteran firefighter. Finally, I've been waiting to hear from this guy. If we cut one position, if we close one station, the residents of Los Angeles are going to pay the ultimate sacrifice and someone will die. End quote. That's what he said a month ago. Guess what happened? They cut the budget. They cut fire station. They want the firefighters' concerns over resources, it seems, weren't off the mark. A CNN analysis of the most recent data available from the 10 largest U.S. cities and other comparable departments showed the Los Angeles Fire Department is less staffed than almost any other major city, leaving it struggling to meet both daily emergencies and larger disasters such as wildfires. So the hell with the wildfires. If someone's house is burning down, they're going to have trouble just putting that out.
Again, seems perfectly fine to me. Who needs the fire department?
Oh, wait, there's our hero. There's Gavin. There's Gavin just talking. Hey. Oh, my God. There's this...
yeah, look. And yeah, they do have time and money to Trump-proof their state.
Yep, they have time, money, Trump. And I was amazed at that. They were
emergency.
The emergency session to Trump-proof the state.
I know
Don't hire any more fucking firefighters. Don't fix the problem. Orange Man is coming. You are a big bad Orange
the
Man.
most populous city
He's
in your
gonna
state.
drink all our Diet Coke. Fucking all of you need helmets. Y'all should be wearing helmets because you're all fucked up. Jesus Christ, the fucking place is on fire. There's no water. There's homeless everywhere. Immigrants pouring over the border. There's a drug crisis.
No problem with immigrants. It's just, can we manage the situation better? Can we maybe not have everyone illegal? Can we legally do this? Is it wrong?
The economy's going to trash. No.
Your rich taxpayers are leaving.
The big problem is the Orange Man is coming.
That's the end of us right there.
That's the big emergency.
That's like Rome. That's like Rome is like outside the gates of the Hansa. They're like, but the Achaemenids.
Oh my God.
The Achaemenids in the east.
Oh,
that's the problem.
Big bad Orange Man. Oh my God. So yeah. Oh no, we're not done with the wildfires yet. By the way, we're just
still on it. We're just
still on it.
shocked.
I got a couple more things for you. Let me get to the other. Let me get to. Oh God. Here we go.
I love our priorities.
Here we go. All right, so the new LA DWP had to be paid $750,000 salary.
I'm sorry,
a steep increase from the predecessor. This is an article dated May 14th, 2024. So this is months and months and months before the wildfires. This is last year. This is okay, let me put it in perspective. Gaslighting. This is the woman they hired. She's a Procter & Gamble ex-corporate employee. They hired, her job is to make sure the reservoirs are filled and the fire hydrants have water coming out of them.
Not a hard job.
Her salary is $750,000 a year, a good $300,000 increase over her predecessor, who made less than $500,000 a year. Now, I realize California is expensive to live in, but if your only job is to look at the reservoir and go, is it full? Nope. Put more in it. If that's your job, $750,000. That's just.
Can I have that job? I do a good job. I'll swim in it.
Janice Quiones. Listen, I live in Mexico and I can't pronounce this name.
Yeah, you have made me disappointed. Not joking.
I'm very disappointed. Your mother's probably downstairs swearing. Replaces current general manager Martin Adams, who is retiring. He was paid $435,000.
That's still great money.
The head of the Department of Water and Power and an annual salary, a sharp increase from her president. This council will be considering many important appointments that the mayor will be making. Mayor Bass, of course she's behind it. Of course. It's just the diversity. But very few will be as consequential as this one. Leadership of the DWP is absolute vital to the city. Fail.
I wonder why it's vital.
She previously served as Senior Vice President of Electric Operations at Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E, sorry, Pacific Gas, not Procter. Council members defended the big jump in salary is necessary to attract private sector talent. How's that working out for you? How's that working out? You open up those valves, no water. So this woman, whose job it is to make sure that the water and power is on, who makes $750,000 a year,
did not make sure that the water and power.
I think is somewhat criminally responsible at this point, or negligent at least. If people died, I think there needs to be an investigation of a criminal nature. I'm not saying she did anything illegally. I'm just alleging that there could be something, I don't know, negligent about that. Like if I get into a car and I drive and I make a mistake because I'm negligent at operating the vehicle and I kill somebody because I run them over because I'm negligently operating the vehicle. I am criminally neglect of murdering somebody. I think that standard should apply everywhere.
Well, technically the fire killed them.
Technically not having water to put out the fire killed them.
Who knows? Even if you had the water, maybe the fire wouldn't be put out.
Like if someone looks up, if I look up and go, hey, there's a fire coming, let me get the water, and I open up the valves, and there's no effing water. The lack of water killed me, not the fire.
What?
I know.
Yes and no.
No one's going to be held accountable.
No one's going to. You kidding me?
No. Yeah, it's just, no.
Gravity failed us. That's what
Gravity failed. It's gravity's problem. All right, from the wildfires, we're going to have a little bit more niceness here. Starbucks.
What, about wildfires?
We're going to, no. We're going to go from wildfire. We're going to end up.
More niceness
From
the wildfires.
So I used to work at Target, right?
Yeah.
First 10 years of your life, I was a Target manager. I ran stores for Target. And a lot of Targets had Starbucks in it. None more prominently than the one I ran in Boston. Had a nice Starbucks. Very nice Starbucks. The thing is, Starbucks has this open door policy. All right? Which means anybody can just come in, sit there. They don't have to order anything. They can use the toilet, whatnot, fine, whatever. But they can sit there all day. So across my Target happened to be in, they called it South Bay, which is the south side of Boston.
I figured. Well, thank you, Gringo.
Roxbury, Mattapan,
South Bay's in the
Dorchester.
South.
Sorry. Anyways, slow
I
down.
I thought South Bay was in the north.
So we had a not very nice neighborhood that we were in, but still a great store, great staff, loved it there. But we also had a methadone clinic across the street. So the meth heads would go in there, and then at night, in the morning when they'd get kicked out because they had no place to go, I'd have a group of 12 meth heads come walking in, and they'd sit at the back of my Starbucks and take up the biggest table, sit around, and read the newspaper that they got off the street. And they would sit there all fucking day.
Were they nice?
I mean, they were nice, but they stank.
Of course, yeah.
They were homeless methadones.
I imagine.
And there's nothing I could do about it.
Just
I was
asking.
told by corporate, can't do anything, can't kick them out, right? So regular people would come in to get their coffees. They'd want to maybe sit there, maybe enjoy a muffin or a croissant or something. They would look at the meth heads down there, and they're all, I don't know if you've seen a group of 12 meth heads interacting while trying to pass the newspaper around or passed out on the table.
Trust me, there's a place in Rome and it's magical. It's called Termini Station. You see some things.
I bet you do.
You see some very interesting things.
I bet you do. But I could never kick these people out. So finally, Starbucks has ended its open door policy. Why? Because they're tired of drug addicts going in and shitting all over the place and taking up all the seats and bothering customers. How do you feel about that?
I mean, is that nationwide or is that?
Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I think it was bound to end eventually, and it's become a problem. It quite frankly has become a problem.
CEO Brian Nichols' strategy to lure back customers, boost sagging sales, and improve worker relations. Let me tell you something. We have Starbucks here in Mexico. They're beautiful.
They're clean.
They're so clean.
Very nice people.
I don't go into them anymore because it's still so. Okay, look, a caramel. I used to order a grande caramel macchiato with whipped cream. That was my drink. I loved it. It juiced me up in the morning, right? Caliente, no frio. I don't drink cold coffee. I don't get that. So, anyways, this is in Houston. So it cost me $8, maybe $9 for the damn drink. I get it. It's expensive. Here, cost me $4.
Nothing.
$4, right? I still don't go in there and drink and get those coffees because they're not healthy for me. So I don't. But I have no problem going into a Starbucks if I wanted to here. They are so clean.
Mm-hmm.
They are so nice. They are so well organized. There's no homeless people crapping in the corner. There's no drug addicts falling on the floor. But here, I see Kensington and Philly. Yeah, Kensington and Philly. Yeah.
Oh, I think that wins. I gotta be honest.
No, that does not win. That does not win. I've been there too. That does not win.
What do you mean? What's worse than that?
What's worse than that, buddy?
Iraq?
No. I was in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Where
Clyde, he might have you beat.
Yeah, I got you because I needed the poop map to the app that shows
I'm
where all
sorry,
the poop is.
what?
Because so you could avoid all the poop.
Oh yeah,
On the street and the needles and everything, and I would have like homeless guys I'd be walking. I remember I was walking down the street in San Francisco, and a homeless guy just kind of came out of nowhere, skinny, scrawny, dirty, nasty, right? And just pulls out his wang. He stands in the middle of the street. He's standing in the middle of the street, and he just pulls out his wang. Just taking a leak, just like this is great. I'm like, welcome to San Francisco, buddy. Welcome. Anyways, so here, the beautiful. I will never go into a Starbucks in the United States ever again because of this policy. Because now, I know they're changing it now. Still won't go in. One, they're too expensive. Two, they lost me as a customer. They said they prioritize social messaging. They prioritize virtue signaling. So they lost me as a customer. So I won't go to Starbucks anymore. I won't trust it. You got, I got too many other options. I go get coffee somewhere else. So that's the way I am. So for you coffee drinkers out there, they're changing, but I think it's a little too late. Okay. How are we gonna? What's our? You know what? I got a choice here. I got a choice.
You got a choice.
I got a choice.
Don't get many of those in life.
Here.
What are you looking at?
Okay, I think we're gonna.
You seem hesitant. What's going on, Green?
Okay, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. Do you know the House voted to ban trans girls from women's sports in schools?
Yeah, I saw that.
Isn't that awesome?
I think it makes sense.
I think it's awesome. I'm gonna say that right now. It's awesome, and they're not trans girls. They're men. They're boys. You can call them girls all you want. They're not. They're not girls, right? And here's the thing. The Democratic Party has not learned its lesson only 2 Democrats voted in favor of the bill. Only 1 Democrat voted present. Every other Democrat voted against it. They want to allow trans men to play in women's sports. They want to allow them in the locker room.
I can't get behind that.
I can't.
I really can't.
I will not get behind it.
Again, do what you want with your
House
life and body, but that doesn't mean you have the right to then force it upon other people.
The House on Tuesday voted, listen, according to Democrats, I can just walk into a local gym in the United States, anywhere, right? I just show up in Boston somewhere, right? I was like, oh, there's a gym there. I'm going to join that gym. I'm going to walk in, and I'm going to walk into the women's locker room and say, I can be here because I'm trans. I haven't had anything done to me. I haven't had any operation. No, I can just say I'm trans. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to change here in the women's locker room.
Yeah.
How is this safe?
No, I'm good.
So voted 218 and 206 to ban transgender girls and women from girls' sports in federally funded schools by amending Title IX, the federal civil rights law that prohibits sex discrimination in educational institutions. Finally. But here's the thing. Did you see the meltdown from Ocasio-Cortez? She literally got up and said, this is why Democrats are going to continue to lose. They got to get rid of these. If Democrats want to make a comeback, they got to get rid of people like her. She's literally on the floor of the House, and she's saying, Republicans, they don't care about women. They want this bill so they can inspect and touch girls' genitals. That's nowhere in the bill, right? It's not a thing, but that's what she's literally screaming that up and down. Like she believes, like she's retarded. I think she's retarded. I really do. And all it means is, I don't know. Leave women alone. Let them have their thing, Clay. Absolutely. All it says is you got a birth certificate. It says what you are. You give that birth certificate when you enter the school, just like anybody else. Says you're a boy, says you're a boy. Says you're a girl, says you're a girl. There you go. Right? You say whatever you want, but the birth certificate says what it is.
Right.
That's what it is. And then as far as exams, every athlete goes through a physical. Has to get a physical.
Right.
Right? When I played football in high school, they wanted a physical before I joined the team.
Even when I go to the gym, when I used to go to the gym in university, they wanted a physical.
They wanted a physical. Right? They're not in there. They're not doing inspections. They're not going, no.
Also, what does she think is going on?
She's a friggin' nutcase. She literally had this weird meltdown on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, why does she, she doesn't want to, I don't understand why she doesn't see that for everything that she's in favor of when it comes to this issue, she's harming a woman, a real woman. I don't get that. Thank God you know what? And maybe I'm not in it. And people are like, well, maybe it's just a small portion of the Democratic Party. No, all of them voted against it, except for 3, 1 abstained, which is a way of voting against it without voting against it.
I think that's just being like, I don't want to be with my party, but I don't want to make a vote because it could hurt me.
But do you know how I know that the Democratic Party is not? I mean, this is a big deal. This is part of the reason why they lost the election. Trump's ads on the whole thing, like, Trump is for you, Kamala is for they, them. Like, that hit big in the Midwest. That hit big in a lot of in the suburbs with women. That hit big.
Right.
That's a big issue. And they're not
catching it.
Yeah. Not catching it. They're not understanding it. And how do I know? Because Hollywood is behind them as well. This is how they're going to go after Trump. This is the big, we're against Trump, anti-Trump. Because, and I told you in my review, it's not just going to get nominated. It's going to win Best Picture and it's going to win Best Actress. I'll bet. That's another bet you and I will make it when it comes closer to it. Because the nominations aren't out yet. But for the British Oscars,
the BAFTAs,
woo! There are 2 movies that made the most nominations.
Bottle of water. No, I'm joking.
Conclave, which I've not seen yet, which is a drama about the Pope and the Conclave and all that. 12 nods. Followed by Amelia Perez with 11.
What?
Amelia Perez. Yes.
In what? I saw clips of this movie.
Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress.
No.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
You're lying to me.
Yeah.
Beaner here is asking
Meanwhile,
why.
like, Wicked didn't get a nomination for Best Picture, which I thought, like, absolutely.
I think that actually,
Denzel Washington for his role in Gladiator 2 didn't get a nomination.
that's actually quite surprising.
Yeah, which I thought celebrated actors of a generation didn't get one. Maybe if he said he was a woman, he would have gotten it. I don't know. But
Didn't meet the criteria there.
in what is probably the most
Didn't
surprising
nominate.
snub of the day, John M. Chu's musical adaptation failed to earn a nomination for Best Film. Wicked, we're talking about. It was likely pushed out by another musical, Jacques Audiard's Emilia Perez, because who could resist songs that start out, a woman to a man to a woman, and from penis to vagina. I mean, those lyrics
resonate with everybody.
Those will live forever.
They really, honestly, those lyrics will live forever.
You know what, Clyde? You're right. Fetterman is making sense. At least he talks. He's actually.
I'm all right with Fetterman. At first, I was like, I don't know this guy. I was a little concerned. He's earned my respect.
Yeah, he's
over
absolutely
time.
my respect. You know what? He's becoming the face of that party,
Right.
in the Senate. And that's good. Which, given its international could have resonated. Oh my God! Wicked, through a box office in the U.S., didn't perform as well internationally. Wicked was also not recognized. It didn't get adapted screenplay category. It did earn acting nods for Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, as well as 5 nominations in the craft categories. Set design, things like that.
That's nice.
The Challengers gets nothing, and that's because the movie sucked. The Challengers is the one with Zendaya. Anyway, so we're not going away, folks. This is not going away.
Hey, what about The Crow?
No, the Crow. But transgenderism is going to continue to be the Democrats' rallying cry, and that's what they're going to hang their hat on it, because they're hanging their hat on it now in Congress. They're going to hang their hat on it at the Oscars, at the biggest awards. They've already given it every awards, as you can see here. Here she is, or he is. He. It's a he. That's a he. Those are 3 men, but only one of them has been going to get nominated for Best Actress. I'm pretty sure. Let's see here. Conclave. Okay. Ahead of Amelia Perez, 11. All Quiet on the Western. Okay. Award Substance, Wicked, Complete Unknown, blah, 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 blah. So the same ones all along. Jacques Audiard's Spanish-language musical Amelia Perez has led the BAFTA's long list, unveiled at the start of the year, but now trails Conclave by just a single nomination. It's 3 main actresses. They made Carla, Sofia Gascon. No, it's Juan Carlos Gascon. Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana all received performance nominations. Oh, all 3 actresses. No, there's 1 actor and 2 actresses. In the Best Leading Actress BAFTA race, Gascon lines up alongside Cynthia Erivo for a Wicked outing, her first ever main BAFTA award nomination. Marianne Jean-Baptiste. So just basically, they want a transgender person up on stage, so everyone go Stunning and Brave and screw Trump, and that's why. That's why this film is going to get all these awards. And I said it in the review, and I stick to it. It's disgusting, not because of transgender, but because of how it portrays. Actually, I think it does more harm to transgender people.
I hate it because of how they portray Mexico.
How they portray Mexico?
Not only Mexico, but also the problem with the cartel.
Yeah.
That's my problem. You can make a movie about that if you want. Just don't
minimize people's pain and suffering.
Don't use my culture or the serious problems that we have going on here.
Yeah. So it's so that is absolutely going to win. I'm telling you right now, it's going to win the BAFTAs. It's going to win the Oscars. It's already won the Golden Globes. It's going to win the SAGs. It's going to win. And they're going to try and glam her up and all that. And this is the new standard. And you know what?
Well, what are we betting, Gringo? You're very confident in this. You've been talking about it for about 2 streams now. We got to do a little different. We could do another dinner. That'd be too simple, though.
What could we bet?
Glasses for you. Proper glasses.
Proper glasses for me. Betting food. Betting hats.
Well, I get a hat. You get dinner. We could do.
If you win, I'll stop taking my medicine.
That's well, life insurance policies.
I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll come up with a bet for it. But the thing is, It's part of like people are like, oh, Hollywood's gonna de-wokeify or whatever. No, it's not. It's really not. And it's going to be a couple of years.
Can we just make good movies? Can you entertain me?
Did you know that? Okay, so 2023 they called it the year of the flopbuster, right? It was a bad year financially for Hollywood. 2024 did 3% less money at the box office than 2024 did 3% less at the box office than 2023, the year of the flopbuster, which means that people really are not going out to see movies anymore. And it's declining. Do you think that if all of a sudden they put her up or him up as the standard for Hollywood, that people are all of a sudden going to come rushing back to the theaters?
You know, sometimes you do drink the Kool-Aid too much, don't you? Not you. I'm just saying in general, the Hollywood. It seems like this is what they've done. They've drank the Kool-Aid. They were serving it, and then they started drinking it because they saw other people having fun with it. You know what I mean? You start giving out, you know.
It's going to be the trainee Oscars. I don't care. I'm not saying it's the trainee Oscars. And
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying because I don't want it to be. I just want good movies.
It's going to be. It's absolutely going to be. Yeah? I mean, this is how they try to, look, they try to glamour up. That's the, you know, every time I see this picture, the only thing that pops in my head is Dr. Evil. It's a man, baby. It really is. That's what that is. And so they're gonna glam it up. She's the Oscar favorite for Best Actress.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Who else is in contention?
Who cares?
I'm just wondering.
No one. There's no other names. Cynthia Erivo should be in contention. Or Ariana Grande, one or the other for Wicked.
The more you talk, the more I don't want to make this bet.
Yeah.
I'm a man of my word. I'll do it.
They're not going to win. She's going to win. He's going to win. And it just it is what it is. So, and again, just like in sports, Title IX, this person, this person is taking away a spot from a woman who could be nominated, who's worked hard to be nominated, to put in a performance. They're not going to be nominated because they think this is stunning and brave, and it's not. But anyways, what a day, man! It's been a lot. We've been through a lot today.
Yeah,
we have been through a lot today.
I'm looking forward to a new hat.
You're not going to win.
I'm going to win that one.
He's going to pardon people.
No.
He's going to pardon people.
Well, we didn't even specify how many. But
you know
pardons?
what though?
How many pardons? How many pardons?
It's preemptive pardons for people who haven't.
Right. I preemptive pardons. I get that, but how many pardons are we talking?
Three.
Three.
I'll do three.
You do three. If you hit three, you got it. If you hit two,
three.
Well, who are your three?
If I hit two, you still win.
Yeah,
exactly. I gotta hit three.
You gotta hit three.
I gotta hit three.
I want to know why three. Why did you pick three?
Because I'm going Fauci, Cheney, and
can't do his son again. I mean, you could. You play it safe. Did something earlier this month you didn't discover.
Whose cocaine was it? And his brother.
His brother.
Joe Biden's brother, the president's brother.
You know, actually, I feel like you have a good chance for two, not three, though.
I think all three.
Okay.
I think he's gonna do all three.
All right.
I think that's what you're gonna get. Because you know. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm gonna say right there. Three. Fauci, Cheney, Biden. By the way, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Are we ever gonna find out whose bag of cocaine was in the White House?
No, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, the guy got convicted for other crimes,
but you know what
like that.
Do you know what I love about the only silver lining to people getting a presidential pardon that you don't want to have a presidential pardon
is like you're clearly guilty.
No, it's not that you're clearly guilty.
Or you did it.
You cannot plead the fifth.
Oh,
because
you've been pardoned.
You've been pardoned, so you can't plead the fifth. So if you get called in front of Congress, if Hunter Biden gets subpoenaed in front of Congress, he has to tell the truth.
And if he lies, then he actually can get arrested for so many more charges. Because then doesn't he violate the pardon?
There's no violating a pardon.
You can't violate a pardon like that if you don't.
Well, it's a retroactive pardon for 10 years. So anything he does in the future is not pardoned.
That's what I mean.
So yeah, I mean, if he lies in front of Congress, then yes, that's
right.
That's perjury. So now he can be convicted of that.
Right. Okay. That's what I figured.
So, but that's what I like about it, because the fifth pleading the fifth doesn't, like, if you've been pardoned for a crime, then you can't incriminate yourself. So you get caught. So he's going to have to go. So if I can't wait to see Dr. Fauci again in front of the Senate. I can't wait. He's so old. You know, they're going to call Liz Cheney. They're going to call him. So yes. So the bet is 3 pardons, 3 preemptive pardons, 3. And I still want to know whose bag of cocaine that was. Hunter all day? Yeah, absolutely it was Hunter's all day.
Wasn't the rumor it was found in, like, was it the library?
It was found in a locker or a library or something like that, yeah.
The presidential library. I'm like, no, so few people have access to that.
So what you're telling me is this.
And
there's
telling me the Secret Service failed at checking somebody?
Well, no, even more so. What you're telling me is this, that there's an area of the White House that's public that's not covered by camera.
Right, as well. That's
like, that is amazing to me. Of all buildings, of any building in the entire world, if I expected any building to have every public space covered by a camera, it would be the fucking White House. Right? So
I would hope it's the White House.
Apparently not. Like, there's a blind spot in the camera. That's where Joe disappeared to. He collapsed. How are you going to find him? You know, it's like...
2 hours later.
2 hours later.
He's dead on the scene.
He's just in the corner. I shit my pants. And it's like, couldn't find my... You know, it's like... But anyways.
You could just stash people in there.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm hungry. All right, everybody. It's about that time. We're going to say goodbye and thank you very much. Clyde, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate you very much. We're going to call it a night. We're going to play some video games. I tried that Marvel Rivals. That's not the game for me.
I told you it wasn't.
I'm an old man. I got my ass kicked by probably some 12-year-olds. Anyways, I'm going to be back on play some video games. And thank you to everybody for watching. Appreciate you.
Don't worry. I'll be looking at caps meanwhile.
Thank you.
Preparing.
Maybe
I get it shipped. Maybe we go find it in a store.
From somewhere south of the border. Good night. God bless.
Adios.
Adios. Salud. A huevo, everybody. We're going to go.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.